what I did was English 9091. The kids who do not meet their ACT benchmarks in English and reading have to take an extra English class. And it's an elective, but they must take it. So what we do is they get to take English 4, and I teach English 4, and then I also teach the English 9091. So these are kids who are not good readers, for lack of a better word, just because the more you read, the better you get at it. It's kind of like if you play. Up. Can you guys hear me? Oh. So the kids who play basketball practice basketball, and the kids who play football practice football, and they get better at it. But the kids who read, they get better at reading, but it's a double-edged sword because if you hate to read, you don't read. And if you like to read, you read, and then your ACT score goes up. And so it's just this double-edged sword. But what we decided to do is take the transitional English and read different books, basically. Um, so everybody knows that the benchmark is 20 for reading and 18 for English. And I've talked to you about transitional English. At the beginning of the year, I had 23 students in third period and 27 students in seventh period. And the goal is to get them out of transitional English. The goal is to make them reach their benchmark through reading different strategies. Um, my current roster now is 6. At Christmas, they get to move, become a teacher's aide. And in seventh period, I have 10. Okay? So it works. Now, I will tell you that some of the books that we've read, um, we did excerpts from The Good Brother by Chris Offutt. Um, the one that really, really worked for my girls was I Am Malele, which is a memoir of the girl who was shot in the head by the Taliban. My girls really liked reading excerpts of that. Honestly, I really thought that my boys would like Wood Song by Gary Paulson because I have a bunch of hunters in my class, and this is his memoir about his dogs, except for the fact that, as one boy called it, we don't have mush dogs, we have hunting dogs. And he was talking about running the Iditarod. So it didn't really click as much with my boys. No, they loved reading about dogs, but it didn't really click as much as I thought it would. And we did a lot of writing because in order to be career college ready, you have to pass the reading and the writing portion. Um, so different writing assignments that we did. They interviewed family members. They really liked the poetry, the Where I'm From template by Georgia Lalonde. And then there's an abandoned farmhouse poem by Ted Kooser, in which this guy talks about a place that has been abandoned and the, the story behind the place. And we have all kinds of places in our area, maybe not that's abandoned, but have a story behind them. So they wrote a poem like that. We've also do a lot of peer editing and peer review because these kids, in order to be college ready, it's not just looking at their own writing, it's looking at other people's writing too. Because if you do it on the compass, you're looking at other people's writing. If you do it on Coyote, you're looking at your own writing. So there's a difference there, and kids have to be ready to do both. Okay, so positives for reading. Since that English 9091 is an elective, I can kind of decide what I want them to read. My curriculum map is a little different, so I get to decide what they want to read. For example, in my seventh period, we have a month of school left, and I basically looked at them and said, "You guys have read all of these things. Tell me what you want to read." And they decided that they want to read The Outsiders, which is a middle school book, but they want to read it from a 12th grade level and they want to look at it again. And here's what I'm thinking: we read books as adults on a fifth grade reading level sometimes. If you read a James Patterson mystery, it's a fifth grade reading level. And we do that. And if I can make them readers, because one of them said, "What else did S.E. Hinton write?" And there you go, you got them. Because they're going to read The Outsiders, then they're going to read something else by S.E. Hinton, and I'm going to slide in Tuesdays with Maury, And then they're going to read The Five People You Meet in Heaven on their own. So if you can make them read something and then get them to get something else by that same author, then you've made a reader. And the whole idea is not just to get them college ready. The whole idea is to make them a reader so that when they walk across that stage in May, they will buy a book on their own and they will become a reader. Okay. What I did with excerpts is I focused on smaller passages, so we didn't read the entire book of I Am Malele. We did read the entire book of I Am of the Gary Paulson Wood Song. Here's why. I targeted boys because boys statistically are the ones who do not like to read. Boys will score lower on reading. So I targeted boys. Girls will most of the time read anything that you put in front of them. Boys will not. So I am constantly attempting to target boys as far as what to read. Um, so the thumbs up for reading. I really think I think it worked, and here's why. We have a lot of kids who are now college ready. We have a lot of kids who are reading on their own. We have a lot of kids who are just, I don't know, I mean, I know college ready was a big deal, but I think I've made some readers because of it, and I think that's a lifelong thing. Um, any questions? I have like 3 minutes. I feel like I've talked a lot. So, any questions?